This is my first video starting my Cadillac project. Probably do this like a YouTube series. More so for myself to document, the whole process of this. Hopefully when I'm done in a few years I can look back and see what I did. Also for myself, I tend to take a long time to do projects, so I guess once these pieces are off, I'll be watching exactly how I take it apart, and should help me to get it all back together again. I find even on an engine rebuild, if I spend more than 2 months or so on something, I don't seem to retain all the knowledge of every little nut and bolt, how it all goes back together. Hopefully this will help. Bit of an overview on the car. So it's a 1963 Cadillac Fleetwood. It's a 4-door hardtop pillarless. I bought it, don't know, about 5 years ago maybe. Haven't really done anything to it except just things like put electronic ignition in it, replaced the brake lines, rebuilt the carby, replaced the fuel pump, got rid of the old fuel tank and just running it off a little plastic jerry can in the trunk right there, in the boot as we call it in Oz, just to get it running so I can move it around. It's a pretty tricky car to just push, especially on gravel, as you can see that I've got in my backyard. So that's about all I've done with it. Cut the factory exhaust off it just because it was kind of bent and rubbing all over the place, and to be honest I was just curious to hear what the 390 sounded like. So these Cadillacs, they run a 4-speed automatic transmission, don't know too much about it. Column shift, as you can see here. Don't know how this is gonna look. The old column shift. The engine is a 390 cubic inch, that's 6.4 litres. It's not the Ford 390, like a lot of people think. It's a proprietary Cadillac engine. The following year, this 1964 Cadillacs also had a 390, but it was a complete redesign, so a totally different engine. I suppose this is the biggest configuration of their small block 390, whereas the subsequent years they could go out to 500, I believe, or possibly more. So they were basically the big block Cadillac. And then they just increased the capacity each year. I think the Coupe de Villes, the 2-door hardtops, they were kind of the performance model back in '64. They would possibly get more horsepower out of them. What else have I done? When I bought the car, it only really had one piece of body damage. It was here on the front right fender. The previous owner, I believe his son, reversed an Impala into it or something, as the story went. So this hasn't been painted at all, but you can sort of see these marks here. That's where the damage was. And that was just with panel beating. I was able to get that flat. I probably could dig up an old photo of what it looked like. I wasn't expecting much, but it actually came out to the point where I often forget it ever had damage there. And the only panel in the entire car that I've resprayed, I guess it was just my first little dip in the toe in the water when I bought the car. I just did one of the spats. These are removable, so it was pretty easy. They have a bunch of holes in the panel, as you can see on this panel. And that's for mounting a bit of chrome flashing, which I don't like the look of. I'm doing this as more of a resto mod. want to do something a little bit more unique. And so this was just me practicing just with me welding up any panel holes and trying to get a decent flat look off the gun. This is a 2-pack primer. It's called Epitech or Epotech, I think. But you can actually leave it as a final coat. You can sand it back and paint over later. But apparently it's really good for sealing the steel, stopping rust from starting. You can see this is everything else I got to deal with. So these rocker panels, basically gonna almost cut them out completely. I've got some ideas for what I'm gonna do with this car, but I guess I'll cover that in the series. A bit more on the interior. It's a 6-seater, 2 bench seats, electric front seats, electric windows, 8 electric windows actually. So even these little front quarter ventilation windows are electric, front and back. Pillow lift looks pretty cool. It's actually why I like these cars so much. I've always been a bit of a sedan man. Over the coupes for anything. I grew up driving. We have Commodores here in Australia. I guess they're like your Impalas or Crown Vics or whatever that you have in the States. And I've just always liked just the big, wide, low, slow, loud cars. So the 4-door appealed to me, but especially in the hard top format. Basically with both those windows rolled down, looks like you could slide a king-size mattress through there and out the other side, especially with the bench seats. I really like that look. The interior is totally fucked, as you can see. The way I first described it was it looks like a dozen stray cats had an orgy in here. May have actually been the case. These are the hubcaps I plan on running, so I want to run factory rims and hubcaps. On the super wide white walls, so I'm actually doing it is call these porta walls. Basically they're a rubber fascia or facade that you actually roll under the rim on the tyre. It converts an old tyre into a white wall. Gives you more choice in what tyres you can run, and it's very difficult to find a 4-inch white wall. I think that's what this is. Check off the finger tape measure. Yeah, 3-inch white wall. They're quite hard to find. Yeah, I think that'll do for now. As you can see, I already pulled off this front fender. I guess this is where I thought I better start documenting this. There's the front fender removed. Might look a bit funny having a Persian rug in your garage, but you know, I'm a bit fancy like that. Again, this panel, just like the rest on the car, appears to be very straight, very flat. You can see a lot of mapping in all the layers of paint. So down to the factory steel, this car appears to have been like a baby blue, sky blue. And then you can see some white undercoat, and then a little bit of remnants of some black, some horrible enamel type black that was on there. I didn't sand this, the previous owner started sanding one half of the car and then I just gave up and sold it. There's a guy that lives near here that restores mainly mid-50s Chevys, 56s, 55s, 57s. So I think he probably didn't want this extra commitment. And it's good for me because 63, of a lot of American cars, but especially the Cadillac is my dream car. 63 Lincoln Continentals, Impalas, I love them all. And Buick Rivieras and things like that. Big fan of the 60s. I think I'll wrap it up. This video's getting long, but that should be a yeah, should hold me to actually getting this project done now that I've started documenting it.